picture at the right corner. Yes. Germination of the seed. Yeah, you wish.
Only when there is a conducive environment, the seed
Only when there is a conducive atmosphere, environment, the seed will sprout and then become a plant. Anybody else? Looking for the system to work, the atmosphere is also, the environment is also very important. This seed is lucky. It's fallen on the soil, moist, or it is watered, it has sprouted, then it's become a small plant. Very lucky, none of these birds or cows have gone and eaten it also. See, such a nice, conducive atmosphere here. So imagine the seed to fall on a dry land or somewhere else. It will be picked up by a bird also eaten. The seed we don't expect it to grow into a small plant. So that's how the systems and environment, if it is conducive, then it is helpful to achieve the goal. So we say the goal of medical education is to produce a certified doctor, medical profession at the end of 4.5 years who could act like the first line primary physician. So if the medical college atmosphere is conducive, you provide him all the knowledge, experience, you have patience. He cannot become the first line primary physician to take care of it. If you do not teach or if he has not learned anything. So if the atmosphere is not conducive, then the goal achievement is definitely not possible. So when we talk about the types of systems, two very good examples to talk about the types of systems. One is an open system, the other is closed system. So open system, the book, take the same example. He says running car. Why running car as an example for open system? Can we change this running system? Car is running. Can we manipulate it? Just the car starts and it keeps going. You can manipulate it. I apply a brake when somebody comes in between. There's the hump, I slow down. I stop near a signal light. So I can change it. I can change this. I can do anything and I'm sitting in the car. So that is an open system. Whereas closed system, you only rocket. You just like the rocket. It just goes. As it is going, we know it is going to fall on somebody's head. But we can change the direction of this rocket. You can't do anything. Unless that person, he has to move away from this falling on his head. Nothing to be done. It just goes and does whatever. So whenever we feel the system is not running in a proper way, we can relook at what is happening and change it. So open system responds to changes by functionally interacts with other changes. But closed system is just self-sufficient and self-regulatory, no interaction with the environment, no exchange of material also. So we are happy with open system where there is continuous interaction, we get inputs, then process them and adjust wherever required. So then how a good system should be? What do we expect? Or what are the qualities of a good system? When we say it should be effective, or we look at its effectiveness, efficiency, dependability, flexibility, acceptability. Then we say this is an open system which will run in a better way. So what is systems approach then? So we are all becoming management-oriented individuals. So it's a management tool. You say, how am I involved as just a teacher of a medical college? How can I bring about change? You can definitely, as a unit head, you can bring about some changes in your department. Management tool. So when we started the evaluation system 2006, so the pathology department brought in a system where the records the internal assessment papers are corrected in a particular manner. 60 marks paper, we say 20 marks each. There are 2 teachers who are allotted, and so there is no discrepancy. Some teacher was very lenient, the student may get 50 out of 60. Somebody who is strict may get 30, but we say let us avoid all this and therefore. Later on, when Uma became HOD, I'm sure they're following this in their department. Now, Department of Microbiology also has adapted. So, in order to permission of principal or anybody, so the departmental decision, the head and all the teachers sat together and we did this. So, at our level, what could be done? Yes. So, systems approach is a management tool that allows individuals to examine all aspects of the organization, to interrelate the effects of one set of decisions to another, and to optimally use all the resources to solve a problem. So we are looking at this from a management view. So there are a lot of subsystems for this systems approach in the education institution, the structural subsystem, the task activities, skills and all that. The social subsystem, all these systems that's not there, we know how it starts from infrastructure and all that. So when we look at this, we know how the subsystems go. So the functional stages of a system: input, output, then the process. It's very easy to understand this. We go to a flow mill. So input there is, say, rice or ragi, whatever. So once that input is there, what do I expect? I expect the flour to be made. So the rice has to go through this process and I expect the rice flour here. So what if the rice comes out as such? The system is not working. So that process has to happen. So this is how, what is the input for a medical college? Students, plus 2 who have cleared. So what is the output? Again the students. So output and input are same here, the students only. So we call this as transformation of input to output. Rice to rice flow is the throughput. So medical student, say plus 2 BU student, becoming a medical graduate. So that is the throughput. So he goes through a process. So this process, as I gave you an example, it could be expected or you always expect this to happen, expected, unexpected. Expected is again, our goal is a certified doctor who could take care of a patient in the community. That is expected. So if we cannot do that, then we say it is unexpected. So a system is not working. So we need to go back and look at what is wrong. So this input, if we just look at it, don't you think input is also output for some other system? So input here are plus 2 students, 10 plus 2. So their output for their college, wherever they study. So how output has become input here. So this system, we need to know what is inside the system, what is outside the system. So there's always a boundary between inside the system and outside of the system. We consider human body as a system. So then the environment. So if I am a single system, so my environment is other people, or the environment if we talk about, then the body is bounded by skin as the boundary. So there's always a boundary here. So if we talk about this, an individual with other individuals as an environment, so if we are bound together, we could form a family. So here we form medical college, or individually we can say the subsystems departments. All the departments put together, they become the medical college. So what is there in the higher system? The super system is Bapuji Educational Association. So so many colleges. So what is the input for Bapuji Educational Association? There's so many students who are entering. So when we talk about Bapuji Educational Association, say thousands, 5,000 enter. So what is the output? How many graduate? And do we know, so this is only grossly we know what is the input, what is the output. So as medical college, the professionals, do we know in detail about it? No. So these people who become graduates, could be medical graduates, could be medical graduates, could be from BE, BA, BCom, whatever is there. So we don't know the process, what is happening exactly. It is not transparent to us when we look at it. So it looks like a black box. So we are just looking at input and output. So if we just look at how much of fuel is consumed in carbon dioxide and the output, that is how much pollution this is emitted. So we get to know only these two constituents, the amount of fuel and the pollution. So what is happening in between is not very clear to us unless you do a real research going into it. How many vehicles and what each vehicle. So we don't know. What we want is this. So the input we know and the output we know. At least we want to talk about the pollution or pollution control. So that which is not clear, we say it is a black box. Whereas in our medical college, we know the input, we know the output, we know what is the expected output and what is happening in between we know. So where are we? Can we change the system? Yes, it is possible and that's a transparent process that is going on. So we call this as a white box. So if it's better to modify it is easy when we have this systems like that. So medical college is a functional unit. So the system institutional goal is educating students and what is expected is a qualified health professional. So the functional stage of the system, it depends on the institutional goal. Then we have the subsystems. We have various departments, multidisciplinary, interconnected, and a conducive atmosphere for which lot of other interactions are there to provide this. So the input here are the learners. Only learners. So we have the teaching learning resources. So where do we fall? You know inputs? Teaching learning resource? Who is teachers? Yes, students who enter class 2 and teaching learning resources are 4 M's. What are these 4 M's? Teaching learning resource. So we want this student to go through the process. He has to become the best certified doctor who could do what is expected. So what is required here? All of us? Band. Yes. Material money. What is next M? Another M? Minutes. Time. The curriculum. Time. So there are 4 things that are required here. So man or the human resource, the teachers, the material, whatever is required to train the student. So hardware, software, everything. Money, finance. Very important to pay for all of this and to buy what is required as the learning. Teaching resources in minutes time. So we have curriculum time that is scheduled. We cannot say we make him as a certified doctor in 10 years. So we are given only 4.5 years the curriculum time. So we must stick to it. That is the input. So there are several steps involved in this process and then looking at the output. So how is this process? It's a 3-step process. One is aim and objectives. So if we have aim and objectives, then we proceed further. So we plan and implement the teaching learning process depending on that. So here when we talk about medical graduate, we know what teaching learning process and what needs to be implemented. So we have AMT course also. So we know what is the aim and objectives. We know how to plan a teaching learning source for process for them. Then after this, we should know that how is our outcome. How do we know? This is the outcome. This is by planning and implementing a scheme of evaluation of the outcome of learning. So we will test that, we will evaluate to see whether the aim and objectives set are satisfactory or we have met with the aim and objective. So it's a cyclical process. We say better it is a spiral one and not just a closed circle. So it should be a spiral model. So if nothing happens as expected, we will go back and see what went wrong. So first year MBBS, preclinical, we got only 53% results. devise or implement another system. So the second process where we could do better. So we have to look at that system. So we look at the objective, which is learner-centered. So we are looking at the outcome, which is based on how a student becomes the better. It's not a teacher-oriented or teacher-centered, it is learner-oriented objective. So this depends on the resources available, the curriculum time, the faculty strength, experience, learning resource material, and funds. So many things they play a role in achieving our aim and objectives. So planning and implementation, this is again based on the purpose and objectives achieved by the learners. So based on evaluation at the end of the study period, we get an idea as the actual outcome. So expected outcome, actual outcome after the results we know whether we are into it. So the process is deciding suitable teaching, the strategies, methodologies, then systems operation, implementation. So once I design, then implementation, then evaluation based on the objective. So three things in the process, they work together for the expected outcome. So the output is attainment of the objectives. If the objectives are as per desired, then we allow the system to continue. So if it is not a desired outcome, then we look at it. If they are not achieved, then certain modifications need to be made in the system. So the system in this case can be restructured, reorganized, and its function will be re-planned for better results. So that is the advantage of open system. So the output, the actual outcome is as expected. The output specification, we are very happy with the system. We say the process is effective in achieving the outcome. So effectiveness of the system, we say the system is working very effectively. So that means it indicates the extent to which the desired outcome is achieved. So there is a cross discordance between the outcome and output specification. That is, if the graduates are not competent as primary care physicians, then we say our system is ineffective. We need to re-look at it. So efficiency depends on the time, the cost, the resources, that is the quantity. There's just an example here. So somebody spends 100 crore, a college spends 100 crores to educate 50 students. And another college spends 100 crores to educate 100 students. When we are looking at the quality of output, both are same. So which is more efficiently working? The second one, where 100 crores is spent to educate 100 students. This is when we look at the efficiency of a system. So in open system, we have every stage, we have a chance to revise the process, and this revision takes time on feedback, based on the feedback. So who gives the feedback? We need to start there. It is students who graduate, it is their parents, it is the public, it is other people who are involved in this. So they give us a feedback. Depending on the feedback we can always change. A closed system is non-responsive and then non-functional. So importance of systems approach to education is, it gives us a framework for planning, decision making, and problem solving. Very important. So we can look at it at our level. So the other higher level will be taken up by the management. Then it helps, it provides a unified focus on the institutional efforts, and to look at institution as a whole and not as part. So we are looking at the output, how a medical graduate, how he could perform, not just looking at a particular department. So as a whole, medical college as a whole, we look at the output specification. It helps in bringing efficiency in administration and management, and the maximum utilization of the resources, and even the examination evaluation of the system we would improve with this. So then design, control, improve the quality. So ultimately we look at the quality of education which will be improved. So feedback evaluation process, I told you how it goes. So So I think at college we have 2 batches of students who have graduated. We need to start this. So students, teachers, public parents, academicians take the feedback and then bring in suitable changes wherever necessary. So what is our role as a teacher? If we say, what is my role? Should I know about this system? So each one of us would look at it so we can see that system would work better, it would run better. So the traditional role of a teacher is only human resource input. But, so what is expected? Is an enlightened teacher, much more than just a teacher. So we should act as system specialists. So we can plan, guide, implement. So that's how universities, take different teachers as, for their board of studies members to get the input. So teachers are doing that. So they're in the management level. So work as administrators, principals, then vice chancellors, registrars. So now teachers who are placed at various levels. So we should work as system specialists. So again, if you say I cannot do anything in the department, it is my HOD, my professor or principal who does. So there is another model. Why do we consider ourselves as a particular system? So this is a systematic educational process. If we can know this, we can bring about a change in the department. Or why don't we bring a change in ourselves? Can we look at teacher as a system model? From now on, once we learn about the system, the input, process, output. So can I not just look at myself as a system? So I teach the student. So what is my goal? What I expect from the student? Am I doing this, my teaching job, in a particular way? Or is there anything that I need to change the process? So should I use a different methodology? Should I make different groups? But the system in the department, how it works. So depending on the group, we make the large group into small. So we use different methodologies. It's not just only a lecturing or a didactic lecture. Say small group teaching, website clinics, practicals, everything, the process which happens. Ultimately, each of us have the goal set by the university for the department. We have the objectives. So can I not look at myself as a system and then improve? Definitely that contributes to the efficiency of your department. So once it contributes to efficiency of the department, then we can look at the efficient working of a medical college. So the input, process, output, expected and unexpected. So system, I think few words are now very well registered. How we can work as a system. Of course, for a medical college to work as a system, we need to plan, implement. It has to come from the higher authorities. So in summary, so when I began, we said we have 3 objectives for the session, at the end of the session. So we said we should be able to define a system. Now we know, even if you do not define a system, at least the input, output and the process. Always we say, let it be an expected process. Unexpected, let us go back, review it and then change and then come back to the expected output. Because it's an open system and we know changes could be done at any stage, any time required. So to describe medical education from systems perspective, yes, and we have described ourselves also as system specialists, not just teachers. We are there in planning, implementing, everything. We do starting from timetable and making groups. All this process is within us. So we work as a system specialist in medical education or education planning. Ultimate goal should be the efficiency and effectiveness of the system. So this is about systems approach. So I felt this topic is quite dry because we are not really into the teaching methodology or whatever it looked like, talking about management or whatever. I'm sure each one of us will be doing some of this management work, also contributing. That's how decisions are made. The college council, each HOD will contribute. Then again for development, each one of the department, each one of you will contribute a plan and then execute a particular system which is different. For my department is different, for your department it's different. This is based on the objective. What we want the learner to learn by the end of that particular session. So I think I am end here. You all know this picture? See this? Nice Kulkarkere, sunset at Kulkarkere. Thank you very much. Let us make the sessions more interesting. I am happy that systems analysis this first topic is over. Then we are into our teaching learning methodologies. So this is only one which we thought we are slightly into the administration and the management. But let us all look at ourselves from today as system specialists, analyze ourselves as the system and then work or plan to implement whatever we feel is good to improve the efficiency and the effectiveness of what system that is already running. So even if it is good, let us make it better. If it is better, let us make it best. So that is the take home message.